I'm James Holder. Welcome to Full Court Football 24. Quite privileged to be joined by former Rushden and Diamonds, Boston United, Southend United, Oxford United, Kidderminster Harriers, Woking and Alfreton Town star Mark Rawle. How are you, sir?
I'm good, thanks. Good.
Good. I've got to say, Mark, is it as hot where you are as it is in London at this precise moment?
Oh, man, it's toasty up here. It's toasty. Here in Leicester. Sunny Leicester. Yeah, it's toasty. Definitely.
Indeed. It's been very testing times for everyone, so I hope you and your family and everyone's been okay and everything's okay your end.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah. It's been a bit, like I say, Leicester has been in the news quite a bit recently for everything. But no, it's all right. We're getting on okay. It's fine. No issues here. No issues. Thank God.
Glad to hear it. I want to look back on your footballing journey today. Quite an interesting career in itself. I know you're from Leicester. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood and your family dynamic and what life was like growing up for yourself, Mark?
All right. So there's me, my brother, my older brother, and there's my mum. Single parent family. Growing up, it's just us. Grew up in Leicester. Got into football from primary school really, and just kind of kicked up from there. My older brother played as well, so it was good to. He was a good test. He was actually a defender, and I was a forward, so he would be bashing me about all over the place, toughing me up from early. It was good. It was good practice because when I did end up playing for my own age group, it was different. Like I was chucking people around, so it was good. It was good fun anyway. Yeah.
What's your first memory of competitive sport? Whether that be playing for your school team or for your local side, how did that initial involvement in the game come about for yourself?
Yeah, it was definitely the school football team, from what I can remember, and it was that I actually played for. So I was in the younger year, and I played for the year 2 years above me. So my brother was playing in the year above, and then I was playing we were both playing for the 2 years older, well, a year older. But that was an interesting experience to begin with. Obviously tough, didn't really know what I was doing, but I was always quick, and could do a bit. So that was it. I was playing 2 years above from start, and then 1 year above, and then I was the older one, and I was in there, and that's how I just cracked on. It was good.
So would you have been playing for like the district borough team in Leicester and stuff through the school system? How did that development work for yourself?
So yeah, there was a team called there was Leicester Boys, which was basically an East Leicester Boys, which was like the schools or the best players from the schools in your area, and then we went out and made a team, and we hadn't played everywhere else around. So we'd be going to like Nottingham and Derby, playing the Leicester schools. So in that team there, again, when I was playing the year above, I was in the same team as like Emil Heskey was playing in that same team as well. There was an A and a B team, and we kind of mixed around, sort of thing. Obviously, Emil was an A team player at that time. I was a B team, but we'd all train together and things. But I say it was an interesting experience because I was playing just Sunday league locally, but then they had a lot of the boys who'd gone on to the School of Excellence, and there was kind of like a group of them that were from the School of Excellence. And if I'm honest, it took me a long while to get my head around the professional environment. You understand? So I was coming from my own estate, my own area, and playing with people who I knew I was comfortable. And then going into, when I did eventually get into the School of Excellence, I really struggled with it because I couldn't get my head around the banter, the how people were, and how I just couldn't get with it. So my mindset was, you said this to me, rather from where I am, we're fighting, and you can't be doing that. You know what I mean? You can't be doing that in a football environment. So I weren't sure how to manage myself in there, and I was quite shy as well. So it took me a long time to really come out of my shell and then progress in it in the game.
Can you remember the day that you got the news that you'd be accepted into the Centre of Excellence? Can you remember receiving the news on that day and how your family and stuff were receptive to that?
It wasn't. I mean, it was good for me, and I kind of got it. But my mum, she wasn't really. She was like, oh, okay. She just thought it was another thing for me to go and do, because at that time I was playing for the school older team. I was playing for my own age group. I was playing Sunday League. I was doing athletics. So I was literally playing for about 5 teams at the time, and I was going to athletics. So she'd take me to athletics training as well. So it was just another thing that was added to it. And she was like, another thing. So it wasn't like, oh, Leicester City School of Excellence. Okay, yeah. It wasn't that kind of thing. So it was, again, it was good, but it wasn't like, yes, I've made it. It wasn't that kind of thing. And like I said to you, I was very shy, and I didn't get on very well in that environment. So I think I went to School of Excellence on two occasions, because I did one season, part of the season there. Then I stopped kind of going, and then I went again another time when I was a bit older. It was a bit better, but I still didn't really get into it. So yeah, it took me a little bit longer to go in.
See, when you finished school then, would you have had to have gone straight into work, or was there options for you football-wise? How did that play out?
Nah, I went college. I went from secondary school, went straight into college. But from there, I was playing. So if you like, I was playing under 17s Midland Floodlit League, which was so my Sunday league team, who I was playing for, and we did really well. So after that, my manager moved to like a bigger club in the area, and he took a load of us with him. So we went. So I was playing Wednesday night in the Floodlit League. So that was a good step up. And then we were playing around Leicester in the Leicester area, but there was like, so you got like the teams on East Midlands. So we were East Midlands, and then there was the West Midlands side of it. And I ended up playing that season. Done really well, got top goal scorer in both leagues. And then from there, that's when I got the trial at Rushden after that.
Talk me through that experience of Rushden and that initial trial. No doubt it's a very nerve-wracking process for a young man, especially at that stage of your footballing development. Talk us through.
So yeah, well, like I say, I've gone into that side of the game a bit later than probably the other ones. You know, the other guys who you've probably spoken to in your other interviews and that, and my old teammates and things. They went through like the whole system, you know, all the way through, whether it's Ipswich, whether it was Millwall or whoever. They've gone through the system in that way. I didn't do that. So that was my first proper, well, it was, I had a little trial. I had a trial at like Notts County, and I had a trial, where else did I have another trial? I was at Leicester for a bit as well, but I didn't work out. But then this was like my first proper thing. So I've gone over to Rushden. I was already flying from the season I just had, and I've gone into the trial, and I just went and just played, did my bit. I did well, and then they've asked me back, and it was kind of like the trial just kind of kept going on and on. Like, so the actual first day of it, the actual day when you go there, did well in that one. Called me back, asked me to come and train, so I went and trained. Then I was playing reserve team games with them on a Saturday morning, because I think they had like the Saturday reserves, which was like the younger lads and the ones, and then they had the midweek reserves as well, which was like obviously the step down from the first team, where they go to other pro clubs around. So I eventually just progressed and started playing midweek Floodlit games as well with them in the reserves. And then they offered me a deal after I played. I think I played a couple of appearances off the bench for the first team. Then they offered me a deal after that. So that was a time when same thing you were talking about. What was it like to be in the School of Excellence? That was it. Like, that was a time where it was like, yes, I'm in now. I'm in. So that was good. They had a good group of lads there as well.
Did you find that league quite difficult, where you're playing against grown men? They've got mortgages, they've got bills to pay. It's kind of a ruthless place to play your football and learn your trade. Did you find it difficult to fit straight in, or was it a case of hitting the ground running for yourself?
No. I tell you, it was hard. Again, it's in respect to I didn't get it. I didn't really get it that much at that stage. I didn't understand how good of an opportunity I was having at that time. I mean, Rushden Diamonds, they were saying they were like, back in the day, like the Man U of non-league football. That was the tag they kind of had a lot of money at the time. And I've kind of gone from playing this Floodlit game then into this club. So that was what I knew, and it was just there. But I didn't really get it, because in my head I was kind of I was like, I'm a young guy. I'm not going to play in the first team. Obviously, I'll just play reserves and get on. But then obviously, as time's gone on, you've seen these young lads now, 17, 18 years old, and they're playing Premiership football, you know, in the first team, like Jadon Sancho and stuff. But in my head at that time, I was like, I'm young. My time will come eventually. They've got all these bigger men. They're playing ahead of me, sort of thing. So that's where they're supposed to be. And it was a guy his name Len Morby. He was a scout for Leicester City, because he was around, he kept picking me and taking me other trials and stuff. He came and he's the one who got me the trial at Rushden. He came to a game, and I was on the bench. And I was doing the warm up in the thing, and he's come over to the barrier and goes, oh, Mark, come here. He goes, you starting today? And I goes, no, I'm on the bench, isn't it? And he goes, why are you on the bench? He was like dead serious, like, why are you on the bench? You should be playing. Like, we messing around at. And I thought he was joking. I kind of like took it as that and went and sat down and whatever. But then it weren't until later on, I was thinking, he was being serious. I really should be playing. Why am I not playing it? But my head wasn't in that space at the time. So like I say, it did take me longer to really realise and really get to grips with things, with the game itself. And that's what people don't really understand, really, where getting your mind right to be in a professional environment with regards to football, because anyone can be better. You see lots of players. In my time, I've seen loads of players who are a lot better than what I was, you know, growing up in Leicester, a lot better than what I was, a lot better than some of the guys I've actually played throughout my career with, you know what I mean? Technically, they're better, but their mindset and their understanding of the game is nowhere near what it needs to be able to progress. So that's where the kind of difference is for people who don't really wondering, like, they have to ask the question, what is the difference between this person and someone like that? And it's getting your mind right and having the right mindset for the professional game.
When you was at Rushden, were any of the senior pros really helpful in regards to trying to show you the right ropes, to try and help your mentality, to adjust your game from that sort of rawness into the professional side?
I'll say there was a few lads. There was a couple of lads that came from that they got from Fulham. One named John Hampshire, Michael Myson, both really good guys. They were a little bit older than what I was, but they had a bit more experience than me. And there was Adrian Foster, who was a striker at the time. He kind of helped me out. And there's Carl Eggs as well, who was a striker. He's been around as well. We got him from Northampton Town. He was like, so them kind of guys there, I'd say, yeah. But at the same time, there were these other older pros that I just didn't get on with. Like they didn't really have time for the younger ones, and someone in my position who's coming through and really would have needed and really would have thrived off of information they could have given me, because they've been around the game for a long period of time. But they were just kind of getting on with whatever, or they'd try and hammer you with and things like that, and it wasn't helpful, you know. So for me personally, I kind of always remembered that. And then when I moved on, later on down the line, I'd be speaking to like youth team players, whatever team I went to, I'd speak to the younger players, the youth team players. I'd give them a little bit more time. I'd make sure, like, because I could see they would been in the position I was in, and you could either be an older pro that's just hammering them about their technique or whatever, or they don't know, and just get them off the part what they're doing, or you can kind of go, look, mate, come here, this is what you need to be doing. And they either take your advice or not, you know what I mean? And at least I'm there and I'm giving it, you know, and then they've got an opportunity. I've said to myself, I'm not going to be an old head pro that just because they got hammered when they were younger and that's how they grew up or whatever, I ain't going to be that, you know what I mean? I'm not going to do what other people did to me, you understand? So that was just something I made sure I took from that. And it was from that experience at Rushden. It did grow me, it did help me grow up a lot. And get me experiences. So I had experience like that, and then after I moved on from there, I got into a whole another level of experience. I'll tell you about that in a second.
We're moving now onto from Rushden Diamonds onto Boston United. Your first career move. Talk to me about moving clubs, about the sort of the mentality at the time and everything that went around it.
Well, the move itself was crazy. It was crazy. Imagine I think about being 18 at the time. So I'd gone to training. And then the gaffer said to me, this was Brian Talbot, the gaffer at the time at Rushden. So he said to me, he goes, "Oh, Rawle, I need to speak to you." And this was like Wednesday or Thursday or something like that. So I'd had to shoot off because the guys who I was traveling with wanted to get back. So I had to shoot off. So this happened for 2 days in a row. And it was like Friday, he goes to me, "Rawle, I need to see you." So I goes, "All right, and gaffer, I'm going to come see you." So I went and saw him. So I thought he was going to tell me off for being late for training or late for whatever and not being. So then he pulled me and he goes, "Rawle, you've got a club's here to see you. I'm going to sell you to a club." This was a Friday after training. This was, and I was like, "Oh, all right." He goes, "Oh, the manager's here. He wants to speak to you." So then I've gone, "Oh, all right." So I've gone into one of the other rooms, and he sat there. It was Steve Evans, was the Boston manager, and you might know him. He's been Peterborough manager, Rotherham, and whatever now. But he's got a bit of reputation in the game. But so Steve Evans, he sat there and he's said, "Yeah, Boston United, we'd like to have you down. This, and this." So I was like, in my head. So I've gone, "All right, then I'll come down and have a look." Right. So that was it. And he goes, "When?" I goes, "When do you want me to come down?" He goes, "Oh, tomorrow. We've got a game at home. Like, come down and whatever." So I goes, "All right, cool. So I've gone home, told my mum what the situation was, and he goes, "I'm going to go to this team, Boston." Didn't know what Boston was at the time. I had to get the map out. The big maps. Yeah, the big ones. I had to get the big map out. Where is it? I found it, and I was like, "Okay, cool." Then I got the train over to Peterborough. Met him in Peterborough. Then we drove up to Boston. So I'm there. And then he goes to, I've walked in the change room, looked around the pitch and that, walked in the change room, thought I was going to watch the game. He goes, "Oh, you got your boots?" And I, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, right, you're starting." What? So 18 years old now, and this is where you're talking about playing against people with the mortgages to pay, big men and all this and that. And I'm 18, I've just come out and I was getting volleyed up in the air and all sorts and just trying to get my head around it. I specifically remember I've gone from Rushden Diamonds, and it was like at that time, the stadium was beautiful. They had a training ground, and it's little things like this where you go in. The car park's all paved, like block paving all around the car park. There's bushes. It's all trimmed and proper. And I've turned up at Boston, and it's got corrugated steel around the stands, and there was rust and everything up the side. And I remember stood on the pitch. And I swear to you, I nearly cried. This was during the first half of the game. I stood there and I'm looking around the pitch and the pitch was bumpy. There was patches everywhere. Whereas Rushden, it was like a carpet. You know what I mean? There's bumpy, there's patches, it was dry. There was no water on the pitch. And I was like, I actually looked around the stadium and I nearly cried. And I was like, what am I doing here? And that was my first thought. And I was like, what the hell? And then by the end of the game, I scored on my debut. So I did score. And that was good, and obviously that helped it a bit. But yeah, it was definitely an experience for me. Yeah, it was definitely an experience, and it was yeah.
What were your teammates like when you turned up to have a look around the ground, and all of a sudden you're named in the starting lineup?
But this is it. I'm sure he told them that I'm here. They've made a new sign, and he's going to play today. So they kind of knew. I just was the only one who weren't sure about what the situation was. So yeah, turning up, like I didn't even have I just weren't ready. Luckily, I did carry my boots. I'm not even sure I had my shin pads, so I think I might have to borrow some shin pads for the game. But yeah, it was so crazy just being in that environment. But yeah, it was. But yeah, like I say, these are older. That team itself they were a lot older than, there was only a few younger ones, only a few younger guys in the team at the time. And also saying that, going to Boston and that I was the only black player in the team. They had an assistant manager who was black, but literally in the stadium, in the whole town, I was the only black person there, me and this other guy. So that again, 18 years old, I'm there. I'm like, what is going on? Where am I? What's going on here? But no, really and truly, the teammates there, they helped a lot. Definitely helped my progression.
Looking at the stats for Boston, absolutely blitzed it with the goals. Just checking out your final tally: 32 goals in 53 games. It's an outstanding record for anyone's anyone's stats. You really must
Yeah,
have
it's
enjoyed
firing.
your time there.
I was on fire there. I didn't gonna mess about it. I was feeling it, and it was that one where I didn't care. I just didn't care, and I was allowed to go, and they put a little structure into my game and said where I need to be running and stuff like that. And I played with a big man up top. He's named Mickey Nuttall, and he was. So I was always played the little man. There was a big man, so he helped me out, flick-ons and bringing it into play. And I was kind of then another guy joined as well, another young lad named David Norris. He left. He actually ended up leaving from Boston, and he signed for Bolton, straight from Boston. He signed for Bolton, and then they ticked on, done loads of stuff in his career. He played for Leeds United, Portsmouth, Ipswich. He's been around. He's a ledge. But when me and him were playing together, both of us were firing, both of us. And he played off me, like he played the attacking midfielder. So we played like the number 10. I played like the number 10 role, and there was like three of us. He was there was Mickey Nuttall, big man. I was a small guy. Then he was behind, and we were just tearing it up. But it was good.
Was there a lot of interest in yourself after banging in so many goals for Boston? Do the bigger clubs come down and have a look, or the scouting teams in and around the place?
Well, I went on trial a few places. I went to Stoke on trial, Stoke City, and I went to Hibs as well, to Scotland on trial. And where else did I go? Hibs. I can't remember if I went back to Notts County. I can't remember. I don't think I did. No, definitely Stoke and definitely Hibs are the two places I did go to on trial. Then obviously nothing came of them, and then after a while, it was because I wasn't hearing anything, and I was getting a bit disillusioned with it. I was like, "What's going on? I'm scoring goals." I heard little sniffs here or there. I think Lincoln might have been sniffing around as well, because that's quite local to there as well. But then I got a shout again one day after training, Thursday night after training. He said, "Yeah, Southend United are coming for you, and you're going." And that was it. He said, "You're going." I was like, and this is before training. Actually, it was before training told me that. So I've then walked out onto the training pitch, and all the lads were like, "Oh yeah, congratulations, this, and this." And in my head, I was like, "Oh, I don't even know where Southend is. Don't know, I don't even know if I want to go. No one's spoken to about money, nothing like that. I don't know." But as far as they were concerned, I was gone. So that was an interesting time, because I was it just moves. I just couldn't get my head around it properly, even though it's what I wanted, obviously, and been performing and scoring goals and things like that. I just couldn't get my head around and move to somewhere else. So if you move into Southend, that's my first time I'm going to be moving away from home as well. So that's a whole thing as well. But yeah, and that move itself again was a crazy move as well in the whole how it played out.
Talk me through the whole move. Talk me through the initial period of signing for Southend, searching for new house, and everything that goes around with joining a new team.
All right, so let me take you back before the actual move. I'll keep it at Boston for a second. So this is a story I've told before. So our lovely friend Steve Evans, he was a guy who's a bit funny with his money. Okay, so he owed me the last part of my sign-on fee. So I can't remember if it was a couple grand. I can't remember what it was, but he owed it me. And it say you're going to get it on this date. I goes, okay, cool. That date came and went. So I've gone to him. Have you got my money? Every week kept fobbing me off. Next week I'll bring it on Saturday. I'll bring it on Tuesday. Bring it Thursday. He kept doing it, and he did it for about nearly 2 months. He did it for constantly. So I'm like, then this Southend thing came up, and it was 1 or 2 games that was still to go. And I said to him, "Where's my money? You got my money?" And then he goes, he's like, yeah, I've got it. Then I said to him, we had Yeovil away, right, on the Saturday. I messaged him, because this was, I got a little bit of advice from Ken Charlery. He was playing there with me as well towards the end of his time. But Ken goes to me, "If you don't pay your money, don't play." So I messaged Evans. I said, "Listen, if you haven't got my money on Saturday, don't put my name on the team sheet. Just don't do it." So then we've travelled from up north, up there, all the way down to Yeovil, right? We sat on the coach. He's blanked me all the way down, right? All the way down to the game. got off the coach, got into the changing room, put the bags down, and you do the walk on the pitch, get your programs out or whatever. So I've walked on the pitch, walking around. He's walked straight past me, blanked me again. So I've gone up to him and goes, you taking the piss here? What? Where's my money? He goes, oh, nah, I ain't got it. And I goes, all right, cool. And I walked off. He goes, what, you're not playing then? And I goes, nah. So he walked off. Then he come back. As I gone to change room, he's got grabbed me. He goes, look, Rawle. Look, just calm down. I'll sort your money out. And I go, listen, you better sort my money out. He goes, just do the warm up and I'll sort it for you. So I've gone out, I've done the warm up, come back in. There was a check in my back pocket waiting for me. So I've got, right, cool, I'll play. So I ended up playing the game. I think we drew or lost 2-1, but I scored in the game. I had an all right game and I scored. It wasn't then after that I've gone and moved to Southend, so then that's kind of odd. But about 3 years ago now, I played in a like a charity game back in Southend, and Ian Benjamin was there, the old former Southend striker. He was there, and he goes to me, goes yeah, because he was at Northampton Town doing some work, and he said to me, we're speaking about Leicester and this and that, and he goes, oh, I came to watch you play when you was at Boston. And I goes, oh, did you? And he goes, yeah, because Webby sent me down to come and have a look at you and said, let me know if he's worth a chance, worth a shot. He goes, so I went down to the Oval game and watched you, and you played well and you scored. And I told Webby, yeah, take a chance on him, go and have him. So I'm like, when I thought about it, I goes, I actually wasn't going to play. I was that close to even playing the game, and he would come down to watch me. So it was that, you don't know what's going on outside. So I could have messed up the whole chance of me moving, or probably prolonged it, I don't know, just through that decision alone, but it all worked out in the end anyway, and end up making a move. So yeah.
What was it like joining Southend? Talk to me about your initial period at the club.
Do you know what? I'll say this straight off the bat. Moving to Southend was a massive part of my career. I loved the club. I loved the town. I felt that was like my honorary second home sort of thing, and that was it. Like, and it was you going into the squad, and it was so good at that time because David Webb, the gaffer, he was in this mode of signing young players. So you had a few older heads in the squad, but a lot of the lads were really, really young. So I've walked in there, and I saw there was Tess there, Tess Bramble, Stuart Thurgood, Dave McSweeney was playing as well. There was Michael Black who played as well, and there was these names. There was just these guys, but then there was heads. The older heads would have been like Martin Carruthers Gandhi. So he was there, and he was. I got loads of time for him. Phil Whelan was still playing. So you got this a nice blend of these older, younger lads. Carl Hutchins, my guy. Leo Roger was still around at the time. He was actually just leaving as I was coming. Leo was, but it was a again signing the forms. You're in the league now. You're coming down, go to Rootsall, get in the ground, signing the forms. You walk around the stadium, have a look around, and that, and tell you you're in digs over there. So I had to go and live in digs for a little bit, and then get to training. And it was, I thought, yeah. Like I said to you, it was my first time living away from home, and living down there. But the lads were good. Like it was a good, welcoming environment, and it wasn't just strange. I actually asked the question first: what's the gaffer like? Did you play young players? Did you get a chance, sort of thing? And he was like, yeah. Like he goes, I'm 19, I'm 20. I think I was 21 or 22 when I signed. I weren't sure what the situation was, but yeah. I think I was my first game I was on the bench. We was away to Scunthorpe. And I was on the bench, and it was, somebody had forgot the kit. The kit might have messed up the kit, right? So we had to borrow Scunthorpe's bright green, some weird kind of bright green shirts or shorts or something. And we had like a blue or orange. It was a weird combination of kit. So that was my first appearance. So on the back of the Echo was a picture of Southend youth signing wearing this crazy kit. Like looking at me, what's this? So yeah, that was my introduction, my first game. But yeah, I loved it though.
Did you notice a notable step up in training, in techniques, in dietary, in sort of the facilities and everything that goes around at playing in the league club?
Facilities, no, not really. Dietary, definitely not. It just wasn't, all this stuff that's around now wasn't around back then. You know, in terms of, you know, dietary stuff, there was none of that kind of stuff. The only thing, you'd get the odd shake here or there. People, you know, there's somebody who would come around now and again and go, here, try this. But you don't know what you're drinking. It's like, oh, it's meant to be good for you. All right, I'll give it a go. And that was it. But it wasn't nothing like that. But what I would say is, in the training, it was more professional. You'd get pushed harder. You'd get pulled up on your mistakes. You know, if you're making mistakes in training, you get pulled up. And these are guys, you know, David Lee had been over at, sorry, 1 second. Let's call back. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, it was a step up, because like, you're gonna have lads who'd been at Tottenham, like Phil had been Arsenal, Tottenham, and other clubs, you know, locally or whatever, but they've played high level Premiership clubs, League One clubs, and then they're coming down to Southend either towards the end of the career, or they're young lads who didn't make it there. They've had to step down, drop down a couple of leagues to get some games or whatever, but they've obviously been training at that level. So then I'm coming in there. I've been playing for locally in Leicester, and then been at Rushden Diamonds for a bit of time, then come from Boston United. Yeah, I've been scoring goals, but yeah, what's my first touch like? What's my, you know, so now the level's gone up, the firing balls into you, and for me, it was like, it's bobbling up and things like that. And so like, Rawle, oh, what's going on? Who's this? What's going on? You're getting pulled up. So it wasn't to the level of ruthless, but you definitely knew you had to perform and, you know, do your bit. So it took me a little bit of time to adapt and get myself right. So it took me a little while to get my first goal, actually. But just that, even that experience alone, getting my first goal after a long time, and it was frustrating because I think Tess scored his before me. So frustrating. And he's younger than me, and he's got it. But again, the difference, like me and Tess, is he'd played at he'd been through the whole system and that, you know, like that, where I was more raw. Yeah. So, but it was such a good environment, because I remember when I did score my first goal, it was party time, and everybody else was happy for me, because they know I've been working at it. I've been working hard in training. I've been working in games. It just didn't come. So it was like I felt, because it was away at Cheltenham I scored. I remember Kev Mayers like dinked the ball over the top and made a run. I chested it, and I've hit it in my right foot. I'm left-footed, but I've hit it in my right foot across the keeper. But I've scuffed it. So I've gone to smash it as a volley, but it's come off my laces and bounced down and kind of bounced under the keeper and went into the far corner. I was like, yo, I'll take that. I was off. So as my boy, I ran up straight into my boy, Ben Abbey, was on the side. We were just jumping, hugging, and all sorts. It was like, ah! But that in itself was an experience just there, just getting my first goal and being around the boys just jumping on me, and we were just there celebrating. Yeah, that's a memory that stayed in me. Just getting my first league goal.
Did you get a run in the team quite quickly then, or were you playing sort of coming off the bench and getting a few minutes? How long did it take for you to consistently get in the team and get a run in the starting lineup?
I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure, you know. I think I played a little bit, a bit of both. I kind of got I can't remember, you know, actually saying that. I know that I was playing. I was coming off the bench. I did get a couple of starts, but it wasn't like a run, you know, because like I say, at the time there was a good few strikers there. So there was David Lee was playing, Martin Carruthers was playing, Ben Abbey. Then there was like me and Tess, who was there. So there was a few strikers there at the time who was in there. I'm sure there was somebody else. Who was there? There was another guy. I'm sure there was. I can't remember what his name was. No, he was injured. Sorry, the other guy was injured. But yeah, so we'd more rotate with. So Dave would play, Dave Lee, and Gandhi would be playing games as well. And then he kind of phased it round and he worked me in quite well. You know, I got a little bit of experience in there, and it was okay. You know.
How do you think you were handling things as a person at this time? Because I'm guessing you're now on professional contract. You're a bit more financially secure. Your status is going up. How are you handling everything as a person?
Again, that's another miss. My deal weren't the greatest. I'll tell you that much. It was. I'll give you that. Webby Gaffer was a businessman. He's like, the lads come from non-league football. You should be glad he's playing league football. That was it. No, it wasn't that great. It was all right. I survived, you know. But it, like I say, it was a different situation because I'd never played for a semi-pro or a pro club and been in the same town where that was. I'd always travel and go to wherever it was. So now I'm in Southend. Now I'm playing on a Saturday, I'm scoring a goal or something like that. And then I look on the paper, my name's in the paper, and I'm seeing that. And I walk through town, and I'm either getting, oh, you're at Rawle, oh, it's well played, or whatever, or if you played crap, and you get the other, you know. But that was different to me. I suppose it wasn't hard to deal with, but it was just another thing. And I suppose your eyes do. I mean, we're talking Southend United. I mean, it's a small team, but it's a league club. So I wasn't no kind of superstar or anything like that. I didn't ever think to myself I was that, and nobody treated me like that either. It was just kind of, I just went out and just did what I was doing. But I feel I'm always humble anyway. I never feel like I'm above my station, if you like. I never don't feel like I'm like that.
Do you ever see players come in the club with that sort of attitude where they've been at bigger teams? So, like you mentioned, players in their career that are dropping down the divisions.
Yeah.
Do you ever see anyone come in and think, wow?
Do you know what? There was a couple of lads who did come in and give it a bit big time. But the group was such that they didn't have it. And it was kind of they got shouted down and said, look, it was kind of like, that ain't going to fly here. Everyone's kind of on a level. And it was if you're bantering, you banter on this level, you're bantering on, but don't come down like you're, coming down and giving it that. And that was kind of how it was. And everyone kind of came in. And I think it was whoever the manager was, they made signings and the lads just came in and majority of the time kind of could blend into the group. And we had some, I think maybe between Southend and Oxford, I think I probably laughed the most. Probably Southend, actually. I'll give Southend. At Southend, I probably laughed the most, like in training sessions and whatever. Now, and that's probably our problem. We're spending too much time laughing, bantering, and that rather than getting down to the football and trying to win leagues.
Are there any stories or moments you can share with us that stand out from your time at Southend? Any of these moments that we can bring to life?
The one that still makes me chuckle to this day was the day when we've all gone in the morning and we've all said, nobody speak to Bombed, to Stuart Thurgood. Nobody speak to him. The first person who speaks to him has got a forfeit, all right? So everyone was just blanking him. Like, everyone's in the change room getting changed, going out before going on the pitch, getting in there. Everyone just run out straight off like that. And then you could see him trying to talk to people and everyone's just blanking him running past. And it wasn't until we've got into the games, we're playing like keep ball or something like that. So we're doing a keep ball, and then he got the ball, and then nobody would ask for the ball off him. But then one lad just kind of forgot. I think it was Dave McSweeney. He goes, yeah, Bombed. And then everyone's gone, ah! Like, and just, it was him. So straight after that, obviously, we've gone and said, like, obviously we were joking. We still love you, Bombed. Oh, give it that one. But Macca's forfeit was he had to go up after training. He had to go up into the physio room on the treadmill and strip off and run naked for a minute on the treadmill. We're whacking the speedometer up. Everyone's jumping around it. Oh man, I was crying. So that was one thing. There's others, but nah, I'll leave it at that for now.
It sounds like you enjoyed your time at Southend. You had 2 good seasons there. Was it a tough decision for you to then have to depart the club, and was that a decision taken out of your own hands?
I'm not going to say it's taken out of my hands. It was that I didn't want to leave. Never, I didn't see myself leaving, but it got to a point where it was kind of. I mean, when a new manager comes in and he tells me, I don't really see you playing next year, because this is when he signed Drew Broughton. He was signing in. He goes, I'm signing Drew Broughton in. I don't really see you playing next year, despite me finishing top scorer that season as well. Right, so I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to get a new deal here. I've been waiting because I signed a 2.5-year deal when I first signed. So I thought, come to the end of that, I'll get an improved deal. Happy days, I'm good to go, you know. And he goes, we're not really going to see you playing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep you on the same contract you were already on for another year. I go, like, what do you mean? Like, I've been on this same money for whatever. Like, surely I finished top scorer. Surely I get something. He's like, nah, that's what it is. Take it or leave it, sort of thing. So I was like, I was fuming. Obviously, I was fuming, but then I didn't have any firm interest from any other clubs. So it ran out all the way through the summer. And it got to a point where the club said, look, Rawle, what are you going to do? You're signing or not? You've got until like Thursday, for argument's sake. You've got until Thursday to go and sign. You got to let us know by Wednesday what you're doing. So I've gone, it went. Yeah, it got to the Wednesday, and I said, all right, and nothing, my agent didn't have anything else. He goes, yeah, all right, and I'll come and sign. So then that was Wednesday, I've said that. Thursday morning, my agent phones me. He goes, don't go and sign there. Oxford have come in for you. Get yourself to Oxford now. So I've gone, all right. And he told me they've offered me more money. Well, they weren't even that much more. It goes, to offer you more money, they want you to play and this, that, the other. So I've gone, and we'd already played Oxford. Obviously played Oxford twice that season. I scored home and away against them. And when we went to Oxford, the stadium was, I really like the look of the stadium, like a proper spot on club and everything like that. So I've gone, well, Oxford, all right, cool. So I've got in the car and I drove straight past Roots Hall to Oxford and went in there. I didn't tell anybody. Literally, I said, the agent phoned me and said, look, come. I've jumped in. I've gone over to there. And then I've gone in, walked around the stadium. I've gone to the office, signed the deal. I've walked out the door. And as soon as I've walked out the door, somebody's jumped in front of me and gone, oh, no. I was sat in there ready to sign the deal. The phone goes in the office and someone goes, oh, there's someone from Southend. I said, have you got Mark Rawle there? And they go, no. They were like, oh, no. What are you talking about, sort of thing? And I've gone, how do they know? I've not said anything to anybody. And then by the time I've signed the contract, jumped back in my car to drive back home, Courtney's on the phone to me. He said, Rawle, you signed for Oxford, didn't it? What's going on? And I was like, where's this come from? He goes, it's on Sky Sports News now. I was like, what is this? So I didn't know what was going on. But yeah, so that was kind of the scenario. But like I say, I never wanted to leave the club anyway. I didn't want to. I was upset by how things kind of panned out, because obviously straight after that, I was getting Judas, the money grabber, you're this, you're that. I was getting absolutely felt. I was getting eggs thrown at my house, my front door, my car was getting pelted with eggs outside on the drive. And this for a period of time, I was getting phone calls. Fans were phoning me, going, "Oh, we're going to do you over," and all sorts. And it was going off like for about 2-3 weeks. I was getting all this, like I was getting threats on the phone and all sorts. Don't know how they got my number either. It was just that. It was crazy.
Do you reckon it's because you left for a club in the same division? Had you have left for a big move, like to further your career, maybe you wouldn't have got so much hostility.
It probably, maybe, but again, yes, it's in the same division, but plenty of other players had done the same thing, but had left and gone into the same division. But no one, I didn't really see people getting hammered like that. But I think it was kind of the way the club handled it and the narrative they put out, you know, because the manager was in charge there, and he's part of the narrative that I had agreed to come in and sign. I did. But they didn't tell the full story, and even down to during the summer period, whilst I was waiting and trying to negotiate something, and they were just like stonewalling me. I'm not going to say they, because it wasn't the club. It was this manager. It was what was his name? Oh, the geezer came from Colchester. I can't remember his name now. I can't remember his name, but yeah, he came and he was like, "Nah, this is it." And I remember over that summer, I went to, you got to do like your school appearances and stuff like that, and do a bit for the community, football in the community. So I've gone to like a school party, and I had to go and just do some signing some footballs, whatever. But it turned out it was Ron Martin, the chairman's son. It was his school. So I've gone in there. This was like, was just around. He's come over to me, goes, "Mark, what's going on? Why are you not signing? What's happening?" And I said to him, "Well, he's just offered me this, and that's kind of it." He goes, "Well, what would it take for you to stay?" I go, "Listen, just an extra one, that would be it. I'll be happy with that. I'm not looking for like loads. Give me an extra one a week, and that I'm good to go." And then so he's gone back to the manager and said like, "Oh, can't you just give him an extra whatever?" So I've not asked for it. He's asked me what it would take, and I said it's just this, and left it as that. Man just phoned me up. "Don't you ever go over my head again. Who do you think you are? This, and this. When I say something, it's that." In where absolutely fuming, blew up on me on the phone. I'm like, it weren't even like that, So yeah, it was a bad taste kind of in your mouth, and I'm like looking around and going, "Listen, like I've just finished the season. I had a good season, but nah, I don't." Again, it wasn't the club. This manager didn't treat me right, and it was frustrating. And he's the same guy, actually, and I'll tell you this. Like, you've always spoken to Leon Court. He's got a hat trick. He's a centre half. He's got a hat trick, right? Hat trick of headers. Great performance. I bagged one in that same game as well. But it was a performance, and he's done well. He's done well for the club. He said to Courty, he goes, "Don't think you're good just because you've scored a hat trick or something like that in the game." Courty's not said anything to him. He's not said anything to him, but he's gone in and put that on him. Like, "You think you're good just because you scored a hat trick?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" Like, this guy, what is it? I can't remember his name. Google him, find out who he was, man. He's a nightmare. I don't know.
Have you ever seen players have full-blown confrontations with managers and stuff? We've heard of sort of players having their moments and stuff. Have you ever witnessed anything yourself?
Yeah, I was involved in one myself, not Southend though.
Really?
later on down the line. Yeah. It weren't a good wasn't a good environment at that time. It was a situation where the manager was kind of he played me one week, I'd do well, and he was doing it throughout the season and just dropped me and not even tell me. Players kind of want to have a conversation with the manager. If a manager comes up to you and says, "Look, we're going to play this lad instead because it's that type of game for him," or "Rawle, I don't think you did. If you worked a bit more on this, we could this, and this." There was nothing. It was just kind of, "You're playing, no, you're not. You dropped," sort of thing. And it kind of went on like that. And then he did something like, I was fit and I was ready to play, right? And then he went and told he dropped me from the team, and I think the team weren't doing so well. And obviously he got asked the question, "Why is Rawle not playing? He's a striker, he needs goals. Why is he not playing?" And he was like, "Oh, Rawle's injured." I'm like, "What? Not injured?" So then the following week, he's binned me again, on me out. So I'm literally still on the sideline. But this week I was injured. I actually was injured this time, and I'm still on the sideline. And then reporters come up to me and said, "How come you didn't play last week?" Gaff said, "You're injured." I go, "No, I weren't injured then." But he said I wasn't injured then. I don't know why he said that. So then he goes, "You're not playing now?" He goes, "Yeah, I'm injured now." And then so he's gone back, and then apparently he's gone to the manager and told him Mark Rawle said he wasn't injured, so he doesn't know why he wasn't playing today, right? So that went off. Then we lost the game as well, and then he's this was at Woking, when I was at Woking. This was, and then he's come down. I think it might have been Monday. We got into training. He sat us all in the change room, and he's gone off at us all and that. And he goes, "And you? Goes, are you injured or what?" And I goes, "Well, yeah." Because I'm injured. He goes, "Well, why are you telling the reporters that you're not injured and making me look this and that?" I goes, "Hold on a second. You said the other week I was injured, this is this." And then he's come over and goes, "Oh, I'm fining you 2 weeks' wages. this, that, and the other, rare. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So I've kind of stood up, and he's come up to me. No, actually, he's come and stood over me and pointing in my face like that. So I've kind of stood up, what are you talking to? I moved his hand, and then he's kind of started coming at me, and we kind of got split up. And then from there, that was me done at the club. He was like, he goes, you're not playing for the club again. You're out. I don't want you training. So literally, I was with the physio. Yeah, writings on the wall, done. That was done. Bad times.
I'd like to talk about your time at Oxford United.
Yeah.
I think it's quite an interesting period of your career as well. So pick me up from there.
So, obviously, moved over to Oxford. Again, similar situation. I've come in. The lads knew I'd scored twice against them in the league the season before. Again, it was a big club. For the level, it was a big club. Again, you got players from all over. I know we had Manny, who'd been at West Ham. Other lads who'd played around, good players. And I've gone in there, and it was, again, I was promised you're going to be playing, but then he already had a guy, Steve Basham, who was like his main striker, and then he brought in Julian Allsop, a big 6 foot centre forward, brought him in from Cheltenham, but he played them two ahead of me for most of the time. So, but I'll give us that. He had Ian Atkins, it was the manager, and he was a guy who was very rigid in his way of playing. He had his starting 11, and that was it. And then you kind of rotated now and again. Like, my role was to come off the bench, and I played most of my games from the bench under him. And he was that was his team. The lads who played in that starting 11 knew they were going to play no matter what went down. They were playing next week. So that was a bit of a frustrating time, because they had other players good players, and getting a look in. But I kind of used my time creatively, and I scored. I actually finished second top goal scorer that season, my first season there, and I didn't start. I think I scored like 11 goals in 12 starts or something like that. But it was just I was scoring off the bench and all sorts there. But it was but that was a season where it was the season where Arsenal went unbeaten, the invincible season of that year. But it got to a point in the season where it was only us and Arsenal were the only unbeaten teams in the country. So that was a thing. Then we ended up it all flopped at the end of it. To be fair, I think we finished about 7th or 8th. I think we were out of it, way out of it though, out of the playoffs and stuff. But that was a testing time as well.
What in terms of having to come off the bench to get minutes and not starting week in, week out, not getting a run of consistent games?
Yeah, it was testing in that, because you're testing your resolve now and seeing where you fit in and trying to improve. I did improve. I felt for myself I improved as a player as well, but because I did have a lot of injury problems going throughout my whole career. I was always injured where I've done my ankle, my hips, my groins. My back was a major problem, and I had a few injury problems at Southend, at Oxford as well. So that's what kind of stopped me progressing. I believe it was the injuries, because I was spending most of the time on the treatment table rather than being out on the pitch working on my game and progressing myself, sort of thing. There was times where I did get well fit for a period of time, and I did go on goal scoring runs or had really good performances and things like that. But then I'd get struck down by an injury again and be out for another 2-3 weeks. So for me, it was obviously really frustrating. I know that as supporters and things, it's hard for when no professional footballer wants to be injured. Nobody wants to sit there picking up their money and being on the treatment table, because that treatment table injury life is not the one. I'm telling you, it can be soul destroying at times. I tell you.
Can it take a toll on your mental health when you're under so much pressure as a footballer to perform and not being able to play, not being able to perform? Does that wear you down, being injured and having to deal with
massively.
That emotions that go
massively? And again, it's really overlooked. And I think now these days, because there's so much more of a focus now on mental health and and things like that. I think you've got more people to come and help you out and talk to you and things like that. I'm hoping so in the game, but back then, you know, I mean, I've never suffered with any kind of depression or anything like that. You know, I'm so glad I didn't, but it was a mentally hard to go in, because one, you're going in earlier than everybody else, and it's kind of dark, and you're in there, you get into work. You've already been working at nearly a couple of hours, and then the other lads rolling in who were going to train, and they're like, hey, and they come in, you've already been sweating because you're on the treadmill or you're on the bike or something like that, or the physio's been battering your injury, you know, just getting his fingers in. And so there's that, and then they go out and train, you're still left at the ground. You can't go with them, you can't join in, and you kind of away. They come back, and then they're like, oh, it was a good session that was, and you're like, just be looking at the four walls or just walking around the stadium or doing the stadium steps, walking up and down there, trying to get yourself fit. And then they go, and then you're still there doing the same thing every single day. And then the gaffer's like, well, you can't have a day off because we need you back fit. So sometimes you're in 6-7 days a week, but they're getting days off. The days that they're having off, you're in, which I understand, because you want the players, you need to be back in. They want you back on the pitch, but the paycheck at the end of the wages at the end of the month just doesn't cut it. You know what I mean? And I could say that I was never on massive money myself, but I can see these Prem guys who are on masses of money and things, and it's still, you want to play. That's it, long and short of it, you want to play.
How would you summarise your time at Oxford United?
Summarise it. Highs and lows. It was. I'd say it was more testing. I'd say it was more testing mentally than anything else. It was mentally testing, because I was signed there. I'm told I was going to play, but then you got a manager's got no confidence. Didn't have much confidence in what I could do, despite, like I was saying, I'd come in and play well, score goals. But he was just like, nah, you're not playing. And so that in itself is mentally testing. And then by the end of the time, by the time the final manager came in when I was there, I was totally out of the picture, totally out of the picture. But I'll say one thing, I never, no matter what my personal situation was with regards to playing or not playing, you get certain players who get, start taking it out on the rest of the team, or especially if you've got somebody else who plays in your position, they'll try and do things like, like kick them or snap them in training or something like that because they want to play. I've seen it, and I've been around them. I've never been that kind of guy. If I've got strikers who are playing in front of me and they're doing well, I'd encourage them. Like, I'll be the first person to, if they've scored goals, I'm the first person to be like celebrating with them and that, because for me it was like about the team, and again, that may have been something that was maybe negative for me personally in terms of my own progression, because people probably argue that I wasn't hungry enough. I wasn't prepared to do the dirty to go and get to what I wanted. So that might have been something, but I just felt it didn't feel like it was me to be that kind of character. You know what I mean? I just wanted to, I'll play. I want to play and I want to score goals. But if it wasn't me, somebody else would go and do it. But obviously, if you've got players who aren't doing it, but they're still playing ahead of you on occasion, and this isn't specific to Oxford, but I'm saying in general, if you've got players who are not doing it and they're in front of you, you are asking the question, like, what's going on? What do I have to do to get a game? So that's the only time where you'll start getting a bit, upset about things.
Have you seen in your experience another player intentionally injure a fellow teammate or professional? You don't have to go into specifics of names and stuff, but it's just
yeah. I've seen guys do a bit, naughty, being a bit naughty in training sessions, and I wouldn't say specifically it's been like position for position. Like, I think a lot of the time it's been more they've fallen out over something. Somebody's like, it's usually an older pro. What I've seen is older pros giving it to younger ones because they're trying to keep them in their place. You know, them ones. I've seen younger lads who've gone in and done a bit, embarrassed them a little bit in training. And it's like, you ain't doing that to me again, you little, and they're trying to kick them up in the air. So I've definitely seen that. It's not good to see. It's definitely not good to see. But again, you feel like sometimes a bit, you get protective over the younger ones as well, like, because you want to see these I love seeing young players doing bits. I love it. Like I push them to keep going. I remember when back to Southend, Michael Kitely was in the youth team, and he was coming and playing. He'd come and join in training with the first team, and he was just like, he was lightning. He just didn't care. He was breezing past people in training. I was like, yes, Kites, go on, a little bit, go on. And then he kicked on. He was good. He's a good player. But I love seeing that, And if I got younger players, I'll tell them. I'll go. I got a youth team player who's in there. I'll go and sit with them for a bit and be like, look, you need to be doing more of that. Don't be scared when you come over here with us lot. I want to see you do it. Do the same thing you were just doing in the match I saw you midweek. Go and do the same thing again in here. I'll be pushing them on like that. At Oxford, there was Craig Davis, who again kicked on. He ended up playing as if this is because of me. If it's nothing like that, they get like that. But he's a guy who's done really, really well, and he was playing U team. He got a chance. This is when I weren't playing. This is where the managers left me out. He was playing, but I was like, mate, go and do it. I want to see you. And he's scoring goals, and I'm in the stands watching the match. I'm like jumping up. He's my boy. He's my younger at the time. So yeah, it was great to see.
We know tensions in football can often spill over, especially amongst teammates. Have you ever seen two professional footballers in the same team that can't stand each other?
Yeah. Standard. All the time. Oh, mate. It's funny. It is funny sometimes because the lads know it. Everyone knows what's going on. And then there'll be a little banter getting thrown in here. Oh, he said this to you. Oh, he's done that. Oh, I wouldn't have that. He gets kind of wound up, and you can see the other person. Just ears, steam coming out their ears at times, and whatever. But lads just laugh about it. But yeah, you can see the two people, whoever it is, like really good. I mean, I've literally seen fights between anybody who was at Oxford when I was at Oxford. You know. I'm not gonna go into no details.
You've got to tell us. You've got to tell us. Yeah? Can't leave us on a cliffhanger like that. You've got to tell us a story now.
Oh,
got to be in there.
I'm not. I can't. But it was Julian Allsop and Jefferson Louis went at it in the change room one time, and it was hilarious. It was hilarious because, yeah. I was actually I was in the shower. I was in the bathroom, in the shower or whatever, in the change room, and I just heard a commotion going off in around the corner. So I've kind of grabbed my towel and run out, and then put my towel around me, like, what's going on? And I see these two tearing into each other. What's going on? So I've like gone. Then they've kind of split apart, and Jeff eyes was red. He's gone, like his head's gone. Like what's going? Like I've had to like jump in front of Jeff, like Jeff, chill. You're gonna kill him. I know you just chill. My towel was just trying to keep my towel on. Just stop. I've had to calm that one down a bit, but that was a funny fight, and I don't even know what it was over. It was just random. It was a random thing, but it was just. But yeah, but again, that happened. Bit of bad feeling for about a day or so afterwards, but then everyone just carried on, and then bantered back about it every so often in training.
This brings us to your time with Kidderminster Harriers. Talk me through the move and everything that went around behind it.
So Kiddie was again. So it was during the time. So I got bombed out at Oxford. I wasn't playing. They were like, and I was not playing. I wasn't training. There was the gaffer was like, it was Ramon Diaz had come in as manager at that time, and he was like, he just said, look, you guys, you're not in the team. Literally training. He goes, just go over there and kick a ball up against the wall. That was training. Like, swear to you, they were like, the lads were training over there. He goes, I want you guys. He goes, Because you guys just go over there and just do that. So that was that in itself. When I said about the mental stuff, they're the kind of things they would make me do. And then it'll be like pattern of play. So the first team against the thing. So you'd be put in there against the first team, and you'd win the ball back. You go and do something. You get stop, give the ball back to them, and so you couldn't do anything. You couldn't prove yourself. There was nothing. So I was. So Kiddie came in at the time. They were bottom of the league at the time, struggling. So they offered me a chance to go over and just basically go and just sign there. So I was signed there for them till the end of the season. That again was an experience because again I've come from Oxford where everything's sorted out and that, and they're a cash-strapped club. You're going into the situation, you're rolling to training, and I thought the lads were bantering. I actually thought the lads were bantering. I've got in there, and the lads were like, right, they were on a rota. All the lads were on a rota, so the rota was like, you come in, you have to sweep and hoover out the changing room. Another group of lads had to go and pump the balls up for training. The other one had to go and sort the bibs out, and you was on this rota. So then when you get to the training ground, and then it was like your group's time to go and get all the goals out, roll them out, and put them out on the thing, and get the cones and stuff like that. I was like, you're bantering, right? We're not having to do this. But it's like, nah, if you're here, that's it. So then you like literally you go in the morning, goes, yeah, it's my turn. You're hoovering the change room. What is this about? Oh, it was tough. But again, you got the group of lads together, and everyone kind of mucked in, and everyone was in it together, and we ended up getting. We got relegated that year. Actually, we did, but it was a good time because I was playing. I did get games. I'd scored goals there as well, and I was with another group of lads that were on it. It was nice. It was a good time.
Not nice to have that relegation on the CV though.
Nah, it's not. I mean, that in itself was hard during that period of time because I was driving from Northampton at the time where I was living and to Kiddie, and it was about nearly a 2-hour drive. So I was getting up in the morning, and I just had my boy at the time. So my boy was just born. So I was waking up in the morning to go training, do his feed, then put him down, jump in the car, drive 2 hours to training, go and train, come back 2 hours. I was like falling asleep on the road on the way back from training, walking in the door. And my miss at the time, she was like, right, you've been out playing with your mates. Here, you have him. What are you talking about? I've been to work, love. So that was tough. That was a tough period of time. Newborn as well. So
we spoke a little bit about your time at Woking and with the confrontations and stuff. Is it difficult when you've played at a higher level, when you're now applying your trade, going down the divisions and stuff? I know you've had the injuries to deal with and overcome, but is it difficult as a player and as a man to be aware of what level you're at and what's going on with your career?
Yeah, it is. But sometimes there's a decision you just got to make. You say, right, I can, like you said as well, I got relegation on my record as well at that point. So now your value kind of is different. So you can try and find another league club. Unless I've been banging it up and getting loads of goals and that, then it's going to be, it gets to a point where it gets hard to get another club. I did have a few offers at the time, but there were I think at the time, Lincoln, who were in the same league, they came in. Chester had just got promoted, I think, as well. So Mark Wright had phoned me. I'm trying to think who else it was, but they were really far and out of the way, and there wasn't that, and the money weren't worth it at the end of the day. It wasn't that. And then and I was living down south at the time. I was living over in, where was I? Oh yeah, so I was north. Oh, I moved down to Chafford. I lived in Chafford 100. I moved down to there from Northampton. So I was doing the bottom of the M25 every day, going into Woking. That was a nightmare. But yeah, but coming from saying that I dropped down, I was actually I felt really good. I was in good form because we got relegated, but I'd been scoring goals. had a pre-season at Woking, done well. Me and my mate Justin Richards linked up really, really well. I was setting him up. He was setting me up. We were scoring goals. I could. Then all of a sudden the season starts, and the gaffer decided to play this other guy. Can't remember his name. Maka. It was Maka. Yeah, decided to go and play him instead. And I'm like, well, what's going on? And it was now I was back in this same situation where I was at Oxford when I first signed there. I signed, got told I was going to be playing. Then he brought somebody else in, and he was playing ahead of me. Every time I did play, I felt like I'd done well. I scored the odd goal here or there, but I was getting a load of assists as well. But it was just that throughout the season. And again, that's where I'd fallen. Eventually, it kind of culminated in that falling out with the manager over a period of time. But, you know, I don't want to say it, but it's kind of, at that time, it wasn't, it felt, if I looked at throughout my time in the game, right? If I looked throughout my whole time in the game and people you talk about racial stuff, it would have been that period of time there where I would have thought it felt quite racial with how I was treated there at that club by the manager. It wasn't. It was kind of undercurrent, but it was a lot closer to the surface than I liked it. It was definitely there. There was a definite undertone there for me. So I don't mind saying it. I don't care. Didn't like him, and he didn't like me. But then afterwards, that was quite hard because then he sent out after I left Woking and I went on to try to get another club down there. He'd already sent it out. He had quite a name in the game. The manager did there. It was Glenn Cockrell. He had a bit in them regions. He had a bit of a name, so he was sending it out saying, "Oh, Rawle's a bad apple. He's a bad influence. He's a this, that, the other," and he's putting it out. So I'd be going to clubs, and they'd be like, "Oh, we've heard about you. We heard you're." I'm like, "What? Me? Do you know me?" And that was it. And I remember I went over to Barnet, and the gaffer there was saying stuff to me as well, and he'd put it in there. He really put it out there like he didn't want me to get another club anywhere. And it was, it wasn't a good period of time. It wasn't a good period of time. And that was probably a time where I was most stressed out, like actually stressed. I lost weight. I probably lost weight and everything. I didn't realize at the time, but when I came back home and I was seeing my family and things, I was like, "What's going on with you?" So my face was gone gaunt. I was just like, because nothing on me. It was a bad period of time that was for me.
I think that was the worry of everything. Do you think that was the worry of the stress of everything going on in your life?
Yeah, because you think to yourself that you've got a contract and you got your contract and your contract's coming to an end. And you're like, I don't know where I'm going to get another contract. I don't know where my next money's going to come from. I've got a family to feed, not mortgage, I've rented at the time, but I've got a car and all this stuff going on. I don't know where my next money is coming from. So now it gets to a point whilst I was down there, because I think after that the fallout from Woking, I went over to Gravesend, so Ebbsfleet. I went over to there for the rest of the season. And I felt like I was under so much pressure than I've ever been. It was literally every single game. I thought to myself, "You've got to play well. You've got to play well. You've got to play well." And I was struggling. Like I was struggling because I was trying too hard. I had some terrible games. Like that period of time was probably the worst footballing period because it just wouldn't work. I just couldn't get things to work, and it was the mental side, and you just felt dragged down. You just put so much pressure on yourself. I scored one goal for Gravesend when I was down there, and I scored the goal, and I thought like I've done it. I've finally done it. I've never felt like that in my career. Like I've scored goals and whatever, but it was just so much pressure on you. Everything you wanted to do, it just weren't working. Again, like I said, I was trying too hard. I ended up pulling my hamstring towards it, so I ended up finishing the season injured. But I think everything just tightened up. Everything. I think mentally, then my muscles weren't working right, and I ended up, like I said, snapped my hamstring. and that was my season done. From that point, I was like, throughout the summer, I was trying to find another club and things like that, but then I ended up having to literally move my family back to Leicester because I just couldn't get another club down there. I'd have to just go, right, I've got to go back home. So I ended up back at my mum's house with my family, with my boy and my miss at the time. And I don't know, I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And that was it. That is the lowest point I'd ever, throughout my whole time, that's the lowest period of time, I'd say. It was a bad period. And again, these are things where in the game that some people don't really think about, because you are a commodity to the clubs and that, once you've served your purpose, you're out the door, and it really starts getting to you now. You're like, well, if I can't do this, then I'm no good, then you're getting shifted out. So I just got a bit wiser to the game a bit there. And so after that, when I came back to Leicester, I ended up getting, I just got a phone call out of the blue actually, and it was actually an ex-teammate of mine who I played with when I was at Rushden. He was a manager of Alfreton Town. He was manager of, and he just gave me a call. He goes, "Oh, Rawle, I hear you back up this way again." I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Oh, do you want to come and sign up here? Come and have a game." So from Leicester, Alfreton's Leicester Junction 21, Alfreton's Junction 28 on the M1 going up north. So it's about an hour and a half drive or something like that. But yeah, I went there. I think the season already started at that stage, so I joined late. But again, I've gone there and I got happy again playing because I was able to play. I was starting games. I finished top scorer there, so I got my feel back for it again. So it was important. And again, that was a drop down again, because I was playing conference, and I dropped down to Conference North then. So yeah, I kind of got used to it at that stage.
This time in your life, are you thinking about what you're going to do after football? Are you thinking about potentially your career winding down and what direction you're going to go in from there?
If it would have been good if I did, but in my head I was like, I'm a footballer. I'm a footballer. I'm going to play football. I'm going to play football. I'm going to play football. I'm going to find another club. I am going to find another club, and that was it. I couldn't get my head around that mindset that it was over, even though I had my mum, my miss at the time. Like, ain't about time you. The worst thing you can say to a footballer is, "Do you think it's about time you stop playing and got yourself a real job?" That's the worst thing you can say, because you're like, "This is my career. What are you talking about?" And you're. It's hard to let it go and to step away from it. So, like you were saying, was I thinking about winding it down? No, definitely wasn't. Right? It was. I had to stop playing because I got injured and I couldn't play. So then I had to make a choice. I was out of the game. Eventually, I was out of the game for that long, and then I was like, well, to get back into it, I'm gonna have to do this. I'm gonna have to get back fit again. I'm gonna be and the time I'm spending to get back fit, the money I'll probably end up earning, is it gonna be worth it? And also during the time whilst I've been out of the game, I've actually been able to spend more time with my son and help watch him grow and spend a bit more time with him. So that became more important to me. And I just end up knocking it on the head. I said it's not, because now you can see you take a step back and you can see things for what they are a bit more. And that was it. That was important. So that happened. So after Alfreton, there was another couple of moves, and then I finished after that.
How did you make that transition from footballer till now to then family man, going to work every day, to trying to be a normal sort of person, if you like?
It's hard. I'm gonna lie to you. It was hard. Because I was playing. All right, so I was playing semi-pro. Because I went from Alfreton to Kettering. I won the league. We won the league at Kettering, the Conference North. Won that. Got back into the conference. So I was still playing. I was doing a bit there. But Kettering were full time. But then I left from there and I went to Brackley Town. That's where I actually finished, and we was just part time. So I was doing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But even at that stage there, I couldn't get my head around getting a job. Like, go get a job and then get your football, and then you got your 2 incomes coming in. I couldn't get my head around it because I still was a baller. But then I eventually, like I said, I ended up tearing some ligaments in my ankle, put me out of the game for a period of time. So I was off. I was out of the game, signed on. And then I ended up getting a job doing youth work. I went for a youth work interview, and I got the job, and I started doing youth work. Then I ended up getting another job with the youth offending service. So I was helping out young offenders and things like that. So I was doing the two of that. I'm still doing that now, but that in itself was it got me into that routine of just getting a normal job and having that kind of thing. And again, it was kind of just that gradual turnover. But I obviously, you still want to be around football. You still love football. You miss the banter. That's what everyone always says, isn't it? Like ex-pros, what do you miss most about the game? It's the banter in the change room, the camaraderie. You know, the competition. You miss that, and you don't get that in normal everyday life. You know, you just want to keep a competitive. You want to try to have that competitive edge, and see your progression by doing. You're out there working with your teammate or helping for a common cause to get somewhere, and it's hard to recreate that in normal life. It's you know what I mean. It's hard to recreate. So that's probably what the hard thing is.
You had to pick out one highlight from your professional footballing career at your time at any club. What memory do you hold dearly and cherish?
I think I probably got. There's about. So I could say. I had good times. I mean, my time at Southend, I'd say, would be my main thing, because I think throughout the game, right, you meet a lot of people, and you meet a lot of people in the game and teammates and things like that. But I think at Southend, I got brothers. I got brothers there. You know, like I would. There was about Jay Smith, Leon Court, Tess Bramble, Barrington Belgrave, Carl Hutchins, Ben Abbey. You know, these guys, Gandhi as well. All these kind of guys, and who else was there? There was but we were there together, and it was a tight knit, and everyone there. It was just so tight, and it was a good blend. So that in itself there was good. I went to Oxford, and there was a good group of guys there as well that I was close with. You know, Danny Brown and Chris Hackett is my boy still now. Like we're still there. I've got we had a good group of guys, and I think it's more that I won the league with Boston. I won a league with Boston. I won a league with Kettering as well. They're highlights. They are. But I think it was just kind of like the day-to-day kind of being around them. You know, you go and having that. I could look over my shoulder with my teammate and be like, yeah, we're riding. We're going into this battle together. I remember one time we went to, on the first game of the season, we had Hull City away for Southend. And we were going up on the coach, and we pulled into Hull, and we were like, everyone on the coach kind of looked around at each other. Let's bang these up today. You know, it was kind of that. Oh, I think we ended up drawing 2-2. I think Jenks and Tess scored in that game, but the battle was on. And Hull were a good team at that stage. They were a really good team then. But we went in, and it was just having that. Come on, let's go. We're on this. You know, that mentality, and I had them a few. I remember turning up to Swansea City with Oxford. This is when we were going for our unbeaten run, and we went in there, and I think we ended up coming out with a draw or win. This was when they were at the Vetch, before they were the new stadium, at the Vetch. So that was an intimidating stadium, because it's kind of on top of the big stand. They're on top, and that's that team was nuts. So we'd go in there and we got back on the coach and we were like, how did we manage that? How did we come out of there with points? We got battered for the whole game, but it was that group mentality. We just pulled together, pulled through, and it's those kind of little memories you think, yeah, that's kind of it. So I wouldn't say there's one specific time. Yeah, probably have scored a couple of goals that I do like, you know. Yeah, I like playing Roots Hall. I like playing Roots Hall. I love playing there. I like the pitch. It's not the best, but I like scoring goals there as well. That's for me. Yeah.
Have you got any aspirations to come back to the game, whether that be a coaching, scouting, or dare I say managerial role? Is that something you've given any thought to, or something you've invested any time?
I'm coaching now. I coach at a local team, Step 5, called Leicester Nirvana. So I've been coaching there for the last 4 seasons, I think it is. 4 seasons, it might be my 5th season. Time flies. Oh my God. I've been there for a while. But yeah, in terms of the manager side, it just doesn't appeal to me. And again, going back to the race thing, there's just not too many people who look like me in too many of those high profile or managerial jobs. So for me, I'll look at it and go like, what's the point? Because I've had mates of mine say to me, why don't you go and do your coaching badges and stuff like that? And I've done a couple, but I'm like, just don't really. It doesn't appeal to me because the amount of jobs that are out there, the few jobs that are out there, again, as things are, you're not really going to get looked at and considered really. And that's been my thought process for a long period of time. I've got other things I can spend my time on doing, you know, and that's a shame really. And I know they're trying to change things right now with everything that's going on. And I've done for a few years now. They've been trying to get things changed, but it doesn't appeal to me. Not the managerial side. I love coaching because I like working with the young lads that we've got. You know, I do invest a lot of time with it, and it's a voluntary thing at the moment. You know, it's not like I'm on a wage and doing it. It's literally so I'm driving around, you know, going to the training, doing this or that, and going to matches all over the place. But I like it. And it's another thing. It's another commitment to go and do. But I do like working with the lads. You know, they're a good set of lads.
If you apply as much passion, intensity, and discipline to your coaching as you did your footballing career, I'm sure you'll have a great coaching career given the right opportunity. Because I'm guessing that's what you're waiting on at the moment. Is a chance to prove yourself. Is that chance for opportunity? If Rushden and Diamonds didn't come in, young player, and give you that chance. So I'm guessing now you're in a similar position with your coaching where you're looking and grafting for that one opportunity.
I mean, in terms of the opportunity, I mean, it'd have to be I think if I had a manager who I was working with and they goes, right, I'm looking to go and do this, I'm looking to make a move and go in to another place or a bigger plan, I want you to come with me, then I'd look at it like that. Yeah. But I can't see me going around saying, oh, do you need a coach? Like filling in a CV and saying, here you go, and applying for coaching jobs. I just don't see me doing that. And I feel that now, today, how I feel right now, but I don't know what might happen next year. I might change my mind. And so I never say never. I'm not saying never, never say never, but how I feel right now, I'm not really that interested with that, pushing it further than that at this point.
I've got to say, thank you very much for sharing your career journey with me today. It's been very interesting to go through your journey and your life and stuff. And I said, be very proud of your achievements. You've achieved some great things in your career.
I am proud. To be fair, since finishing and having a conversation with the other ex-pros, because we've got a little Southend group, and just speaking to them on there, we all kind of realised the careers that we've had, and it's good to back and forth with guys, and it's good to then even for your fellow ex-pros to recognise your levels and what you've done in the game. So it is good. So I do. Sorry. So I think more so since I finished, I have been able to reflect and say, like, actually, you've not done bad, Mark. you've not done bad in the game. You weren't playing them ones there, but you've had some times, and especially because they've got the guys I'm coaching now, they've not played league football. They haven't played in stadiums and scored goals and whatever. I've got videos of that, so I can go and show it, and I show my son. My son knows my games and sees what I've done and stuff like that. I say, well, actually, it has to be about a memory. Actually, I did score a goal. My son was born as a kid in Minster. My son was born on a Wednesday, and the Saturday I've gone out and I scored away at Darlington. So that was my goal for my boy. So, and I've actually, what was nice was I found it on YouTube about a year ago. So I've showed him the video. Goes, look at this. This is when I've scored this. You were in hospital when this went off. So that's probably a highlight for me. That's probably it.
How old is your boy now, Mark?
He's 15 now.
15, yeah.
15.
It's that age where your dad's achievements, I guess, you'll be searching the internet and finding what your dad did for his job.
Yeah. He found a couple of bits and bobs and that. He found me on FIFA. He found me on FIFA, some old pictures, sent it to me the other day. Yeah, I was like, well, where's this come from? The picture looked nothing like me, but it had my stats there. So it was crazy.
I've got to say, I've really enjoyed having you on the channel. We've had the pleasure of having Tesfaye Bramble on, as well as Cole Hutchins. To have you on and look at your career at Southend as well, I think it's a very special thing. And thank you very much for sharing your journey with me, Mark. I appreciate it, mate.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Top man, Mark. I look forward to catching you again real soon. Thank you, mate.
All right, man. Love that. Cheers, bro.
Thank you, Mark.